Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today I'm doing a Master Duel Ghoti deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is an extremely fun deck to play on Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Being able to make some incredible synchro plays and summon out some awesome boss monsters like Ghoti of the Deep Beyond, which is such a cool card. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like in your name description of a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Paces. This card is definitely a 3 of the deck to help you synchro summon out some extremely powerful monsters. This card has an awesome ability that you can banish this card that you control to be able to special summon a fish monster from your hand, except another copy of this card. And during the standby phase of the next turn after this card was banished, you can special summon this banished card back to your side of the field. This card also helps you quick synchro summon because during your opponent's main phase, if this card was special summoned this turn, then quick effect to immediate effect resolves, synchro summon a fish synchro monster using the cards that you control, including this card, which is a really awesome effect to help you quick synchro into some really powerful cards like Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. We then play 2 copies of Shift. Shift is really good as a 2 of in this deck. This card has a really cool ability. You can banish this card from your graveyard and then target a fish monster that you control, and it gains 500 attack until the end of the turn. And during the standby phase of the next turn after this card was banished, you can actually get to special summon this card back to your side of the field, and it shares a similar effect to your copy of Pace that can actually quick synchro summon, which is a really good effect. We then play a single copy of Zeep. Zeep is just a good 1 of in the deck, and you really only need a single copy of this card because it has the ability you can banish this card from your hand and then target 1 fish monster in your graveyard and banish it just to help your fish along to be able to be banished, which is just really good. And during your opponent's turn, if this card is banished, then you can special summon it back to your side of the field, and if this card is special summoned, except during the damage step, immediately its effect resolves, you actually get to synchro summon a fish monster using cards you control, which is a really cool effect. We then play 2 copies of Shade. Shade is definitely a 2 of the deck. This is one of those powerful cards in the entire build, with the ability that during the main phase quick effect, you can banish 2 fish monsters from your hand or graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is special summoned, you can target a face-up card on the field and banish it and when it leaves the field, which is a really good effect to be able to use with this card, just to deal with cards on the field that need to be able to go into the graveyard. This card's just going to deal with them and make them get banished. And if this card is banished, you can actually banish a fish monster from your grave to add this card back to your hand so you can use it over and over again to help you synchro climb into some really cool cards. We then play 2 copies of Zeep. Zeep is just a really good extender in the deck, which is why I play this card as a 2 of, especially since it's a level 4 fish monster to help us go into some really good plays. We then play 3 copies of Lifeless Leaf Fish. This card is a walking foolish burial for your fish monsters, making this card a really good 3 of in the deck. That if this card is summoned, you can send a fish monster from your deck to the graveyard, and you can also manage this card from your graveyard and target 3 fish monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them back in the deck, and then draw a card, which is a really good effect. We then play 2 copies of Miniruka. Miniruka is really cool in this deck, and I really love this card because when a water monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, making this card a great extender in this build. It also has the ability you can banish 1 face-up fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster that you control, and then target a face-up card on the field and negate its effects until the end of the turn, near the end of the opponent's turn, which is a really good effect to be able to use with this card. We then play 3 copies of Batunaful Princess. This card is awesome as a 3 of in the deck, and it's basically the lone fire blossom of the build, that when this card is normal or special summon, you can banish this card to be able to special summon a level 4 or lower fish type monster from your deck, helping you get to a bunch of different fish monsters that you need to your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Supay Duskwalker. Supay Duskwalker is a really spicy tech card in the deck because it's actually going to help you go in for level 6 synchro plays because it has the ability that you discard a card and then special summon this card from your hand to defense. Then you can special summon a Supay from your hand or deck. But you cannot special summon monsters from the X deck the rest of the turn after you activate this effect, except for synchro monsters, which is not that big of a deal because you're basically going to step into synchro monsters in this deck all the time. We then play a single copy of Supay. Supay is just a really good 1 have in the deck to be able to summon off your copy of your Duskwalker, and it's a really awesome card because it's going to help you step into level 6 synchro plays. We then play 3 copies of Hop-Eared Squadron. This card is insane in the deck, and it's so good in this particular build, because it has the ability that during your opponent's main phase quick effect, you can try to face up monsters you control, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, meaning that its effect resolves, you synchro summon a synchro monster using only this card that you control and the targeted monster, which is a great effect because it's a level 2 tuner monster to help you synchro climb into some really cool cards. This card is great as a 3 of the deck because you're going to be able to synchro summon into a bunch of different cards using this card, and it's just such a powerful card in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's a definite 3 on the deck to help you basically stop your opponent from touching the deck, and it's a great card to be able to play in this particular build because it's going to stop your opponent from touching the deck, and it's one of the most powerful hand traps in the game. We then play 3 copies of Max C. Max C is a crazy powerful card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is basically mandatory to play 3 copies of Max C in your deck, and this card is just so powerful in Master Duel. This card is a really good hand trap in this deck, because every time your opponent special summons a card, you're going to get to draw a card, helping you dig into the deck for more combo pieces, which is extremely important for this deck. So, that's going to do it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Crossout Designator. Crossout Designator is just at 1 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, which is why we're just playing a single copy of this card, but you can stop cards like Max C and Ash Blossom that your opponent might try and use against you, so this card is a really good one of in the deck. We then play 2 copies of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is at 2 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, making this card a definite 2 of in the deck to stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. We then play 3 copies of the field spell, The Most Distant, Deepest Depths. This card is a crazy powerful field spell that's really good in this particular build, and while you control a fish synchro monster, this card cannot be destroyed or banished by card effects, and you can only use each of the following effects card once per turn, and you can banish a fish monster from your hand or grave, and then add a Ghoti monster from your deck to your hand, which is a crazy good effect because it gets your fish banished while also giving you a search for one of your Ghoti monsters. It also has the ability if a fish monster is normally special summoned to your field, while this card is in your graveyard, you can actually target a fish monster you control and banish it, and if you do, add this card back to your hand, so you can get it back over and over again, which is a great effect for this card. So, that's going to do it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start off with a single copy of Ghoti Fury. Ghoti Fury is really good in this deck as a 1-of. It's just a really powerful card that lets you target a fish monster you control and one monster that your opponent controls and banish both monsters until your next standby phase. And if a fish monster is special summoned to your field while any card is banished, you can actually banish this card from your graveyard or face up from your spell and trap card zone, and all fish monsters that you currently control gain 100 attack for each card currently banished, which is a really awesome card effect to be able to use because it actually boosts them up until the end phase, making your fish absolutely massive. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Impermanence is a definite 3 of the deck just to basically stop your opponent's monster effects and can actually lock down entire columns of spells and traps, making this card a definite 3 of in the deck. Also, you can stop it with Crossout Designator, which is great about this card. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. This card is a really awesome boss monster for the deck. It's just absolutely incredible that the original attack of this card becomes 500 times the number of banished monsters. So this card can get absolutely massive the longer the duel drags on. And it also has the ability, if this card is synchro summoned during your opponent's turn, which we have a lot of ways to be able to do that, you can actually banish all cards on the field, which is a really powerful effect for this card to have, that it's a board wipe. And during the standby phase of the next turn after this card was banished from the monster zone, you special summon this banished card back to your side of the field, which is a really good effect. We then play 2 copies of Askin. Askin's really good as a 2 of the deck, because this card is really great at spot removing cards off the field. It's just an incredible boss monster to play in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Serpent of the Ghoti. This card is like the entire deck, and why you're focused so heavily in this deck to be able to make level 6 synchro plays. This card is really, really good. It has the ability, if this card is synchro summoned, you can banish 1 level 6 or lower fish monster from your deck. And if this card is sent to the graveyard as a synchro material, which it will be, you can target a fish monster in your graveyard and banish that target, then add 1 fish monster with an equal or lower level from your deck to your hand, which is instantly going to get you a search of exactly what you need, especially since it can banish a Ghoti monster from the deck. I love that effect about this card. It's just absolutely crazy how much this card actually sets you up for plays to go into Ghoti of the Deep Beyond, or your copy of Askin, or any of the other really powerful synchro monsters that we're playing in this deck. We then play a single copy of the Ice Jade, a greeny synchro monster. This card is an awesome one-of, and it's just a really powerful water synchro monster that you can make in this deck. We then play a single copy of the Sword Soul Sovereign. This card is also a really good card. It actually makes your monsters go up by 100 attack and defense points, and your opponent's monsters go down by 100 attack and defense points for every banished card, which is a really good effect to be able to use with this card. I absolutely love this card, and it's really good in the deck because it is a water synchro monster. We then play a single copy of Baron de Fleur. Baron de Fleur is great to be able to play in this deck because it is a walking negate, and it can also pop cards on the field, making this card a definite one-of in the build. 1 copy of Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing is great in this deck because it's very easy to step in this card, because we're going to always go in for our level 6 and then be able to go in for this card, which is a walking monster negate. This card eats monsters for breakfast, and it's absolutely crazy in this deck. We then play a single copy of Dragite. Dragite is a spell and trap negate, so against any spell or trap heavy deck, this card is definitely a one-of in the build. We then play a single copy of White Aura Whale. This card is basically like Mirror Force, that when this card is synchro summoned, you destroy all of your opponent's monsters in attack position, which is a really good effect. It can attack twice on monsters during each battle phase, and this card attacks against your monster, does piercing damage, and if this card that you control is destroyed by an opponent's card by battle or by card effect and sent to the grave, you banish 1 other water monster from your grave and special summon this card, and if you do, it's treated as a tuner, which is a pretty good effect. Then play a single copy of Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, because it's very easy to make this card, especially with Hop-Eared Squadron being a level 2 monster, so you can actually bring it back to your side of the field and then climb into something like a Baron de Fleur, which is really good. And then we play a single copy of Stardust Dragon to back up the copy of the Excel Synchro version, which is just a really good option to play in the deck to be able to basically stop your opponent from hitting you with like Lightning Storms, Regekis, or stuff like that. And this card is just really good in the deck as a one-up. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Ghoti in Master Duel, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's really fun to be able to play, and it's just an absolutely crazy deck. It's a really, really powerful deck, especially being able to go in for Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.